Hello, high schoolers. This is Skill Builder 9, and this week we're looking at the 16th Notes Rhythms and Bowings worksheet. Hopefully this is a really quick and easy, stress-free skill builder for you. Most of this stuff is not super challenging, but the reason we're looking at this is to start getting us thinking about moving our bows together at the same time. That's something I want us to focus on over the next couple of months as we prepare for our spring concert. And it's something that's really easy to neglect because we spend so much time talking about notes and rhythms, but the bow direction that we use is actually really important. If you've ever been to a concert and you saw that there was just one person whose bow was moving in a different direction from their section, you probably thought that that person had no clue what they were doing. And so from a visual standpoint, it really changes things to have everyone's bows moving together. It makes us look more uniform, it makes it a more enjoyable experience for the audience, and it really makes us look like we're together and we know what we're doing. And it also affects the sound too, especially when it comes to articulation. And let me just give you a quick example. If I have 5 notes that are not slurred, like this, it's going to sound different than if I slur them together. And so making sure that we're following the slurs, following the bowing, will affect how we sound too. And a lot of times I'll see students, especially in challenging passages, they might take out slurs and play the notes separate where they should be slurred. They might add slurs in when there's lots of fast notes and they think it's easier than moving their bow back and forth. So we want to make sure that we're really being true to what the music says and following what the music has asked us to do. So go ahead and take a look at 194. As you look through the page, you'll see that these get progressively harder. So 194 is just a rhythm and it's on one pitch, on an E. So this should be pretty easy. I can tell you, because I have played through this before, that every measure starts down bow. So if you're not landing on a down bow on every measure, it means that you probably are doing something wrong and you should stop and do it slower to catch your mistake. So let's try 194. Ready, and here we go. Alright, hopefully that was not hard for you. We're going to move on to 195. The same rhythm, but now they've added some different notes, although each beat the note changes, so there's not a lot of note changes. So ready, 195. Ready, and here we go. All right, 196. That same rhythm, now the notes change more frequently. It looks like they, for the most part, change every half of a beat or on every 8th note, so we'll have double 16th notes still. Again, every measure should start down bow, so make sure that you're falling on a down bow, and if you're not, stop to fix it. That's sometimes what you have to do is go back and do something slowly and say, oh, there, I'm just accidentally doing 2 up bows, or I'm skipping a note here, right? It's normally a really easy thing, but you're just doing it, and out of habit, you don't really notice it, right? And so you need to just stop, go back slowly, and catch that mistake. Here's 196. Ready, and here we go. Awesome. And you know, it's something I should have mentioned at the beginning, but not only are we moving our bow in the same direction at the same time, but it's also really important what part of the bow we're in. And as we've learned different music, you've seen that different techniques should be done in different parts of the bow. Hopefully just instinctively, as you've been playing these, you've been doing it in the middle of the bow. You don't want to do fast notes at the frog. It's going to sound kind of crunchy, and if you do it at the tip, it's going to be really awkward and hard to keep up with it. So right in the middle of the bow is the perfect spot to be doing this, and think about how even more uniform we'll look if we're not just moving our bows in the same direction at the same time, but we're even in the same part of the bow together. All right, 197. There are now more note changes. So here we go. Let's see if we can still stick together, still keep every measure down bow, starting on a down bow. Ready, and here we go. 198 things start to get a little bit more tricky. If you look at the notes, this is exactly the same notes and rhythms as 197. So this is what I was talking about at the beginning. The notes and rhythms are the same, but the articulation changes, and that's going to affect the overall sound. So we need to make sure we're doing what it's asking us to do, that we're following the bowing. So you can see for the most part, we're slurring 4/16 notes or the 8th and 2/16. So we're slurring for 1 beat worth of music. And then anytime you have those 8th notes, they're 2 up bows, and those are hooked bowing. So you're going to stop that bow in the middle, make them both staccato, move in the same direction, but stop that bow. But in the second measure, there is not a slur, so check that out. So anytime you have the 8th and 2/16, there's a slur, but for the third beat, there isn't. And my guess is they didn't put a slur because there are 2 repeated F sharps, so you can't really slur repeated notes. You can tie them, but that would sound different. That's my guess of why they didn't do that there, but regardless of why they did that, we need to make sure we follow what is written. Okay, so 198. This might be one that if you can't do it perfectly the first time, you stop and go back and do it again really, really slowly. Okay, so ready, and here we go. Excellent. And last but not least, we're not going to do 200. We'll look at 199. The bowing is even more crazy in 199. We have 2 slurs and then 2 separate bows and then 2 up bow hooked bowings. So you really, really need to look at that music, make sure you're following the bow directions exactly. I'm going to do this one a little bit slower, and in class we'll eventually work it up to the same tempo as the rest of them. So ready, and here we go. So again, I hope this was stress-free. We're working on these bow directions, and it's something that we are going to pay attention to over the next couple of months, but the notes and rhythms in this should have been super simple for you, so it gives you a chance to focus on the bow direction, okay? So you have until the next day 1 to practice these. Try to have them down before then, and then we will play them as a warm-up in class the following week, all right? Everyone have a great day, a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys in class.